So I was talking to a brand team last week about emotional triggers when people buy stuff. You're going to love this. Or maybe not. Probably not. I mean,
no. Okay.
And they were all terribly excited about the idea that, you know, people don't buy for pleasure anymore. They buy to feel better, which, to be fair, is true.
I mean, it's worryingly true. You might call it consumer psychology, but I'd call it emotional avoidance, because people aren't shopping because they love the product. They're shopping because they hate how they feel.
Yes,
Different.
but, I mean, the line between those two particular states is where influence lives, isn't it? My job is to teach people how to meet that emotional need elegantly.
Okay.
And you'd be amazed how often a purchase starts with self-soothing.
I mean, I see the same thing in therapy, but I get them after the bill comes in from the shopping. You know, people say things like, oh, I felt lighter when I bought it, but then guilt follows and they're desperate to feel that lightness again. And it's not greed at all, it's repetition, right?
Classical reinforcement. Because the brain connects the act of buying with temporary relief.
Yes.
And that relief then becomes the reward. So the loop closes. And the more stressed you are, the stronger the loop.
Well, and that's where it becomes dangerous, because it looks sophisticated. It's easier to spot a problem when someone's drinking too much or gambling, maybe. But you can't diagnose buying a handbag, can you?
No, quite, I suppose not. I mean, and we've also given it moral cover as well, haven't
Yes.
we? So we say things like, I've worked hard, I deserve it. I mean, people do that with alcohol as well.
True.
But, you know, it's essentially the price quality heuristic, which has been reframed as emotional justification. The more it costs, the more legitimate the relief feels.
Well, yes, but except it's never real relief, is it? It's just a reset button. You're not solving anything, you just quieten the emotional noise for a bit.
Which is why precisely brands lean on language that is therapy related. So things like, you know, look at L'Oreal, you're worth it, or because I'm worth it, or Dove, be kind to yourself. It works because it sounds familiar.
Yes.
It gives permission to indulge without guilt.
I mean, it's borrowed from counselling vocabulary. But it's stripped of any accountability. And so therapy uses that language to encourage self-reflection, whereas luxury is using it to encourage the next transaction.
And that's influence, by the way, not manipulation, just before you say it. The client still chooses, you know, we're just meeting them where they already are emotionally.
And that's the razor-thin line we always end up talking about, you and I, because it's influence versus manipulation. You tell yourself you're giving people what they want, and I end up talking to the ones who realise afterwards it wasn't what they needed. You know, big difference.
Right, but you're assuming intent. Most brand teams, they're not out there to cause harm. They're solving a commercial problem. How to make people feel something.
Right.
You know, emotional resonance sells. It always has.
Well, I know that, but you're still playing with very human vulnerabilities like loneliness, self-doubt, shame, and those are very powerful levers to pull for profit, you know?
I mean, though, in fairness, people have sought comfort through symbols long before advertising existed. Jewelry, ritual objects, keepsakes. It's a form of narrative control. Buying something tangible to stabilize an intangible feeling.
Okay, and that's fine when it's kind of occasional, but when it becomes the only way someone can regulate their mood, it definitely would cross into the compulsion then. Because I have clients who can't sit with that discomfort, for 10 minutes without scrolling resale sites, for example.
Do you know there's actually data on that? The anticipation activates reward pathways.
Yes.
More than the purchase itself.
Yep.
And people become addicted to the build-up. And the moment the box arrives, that high drops.
Yeah.
And then they start hunting again.
Right, exactly. So they're not actually addicted to the product, they're addicted to the seeking, because it's the same mechanism you would see in gambling or drinking, the hope of the thing, not the actual outcome of the thing.
I do wonder sometimes if digital shopping has made it worse. The friction has gone. You used to have to dress, drive, and speak to someone when you went shopping. But now that relief is, it's just a click away, isn't it? So there's no social regulation, no cooling off period. And actually, sites like Temu or whatever it's called, actually gamify the buying experience. Very similar to online gambling, actually.
That's so true, actually. I'd not really thought of it in that way, but yes. And then, of course, the algorithms will learn what triggers you, won't they? And I suppose it's like having a therapist who interrupts you mid-breakdown to suggest, new handbag?
That's certainly one for a pitch deck. We replace cognitive therapy with next day delivery.
Don't you dare do that.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Well, mostly I'm joking.
Mostly.
But it's it's a valid point. Luxury now sells regulation, not reward. The object is incidental almost. And what matters is that, the sense of control is returning, however briefly.
But which is why I wish brands would kind of train staff differently, because salespeople often end up performing emotional labour without even realising it. They listen, they reassure, they comfort, and then they wonder why they're exhausted, right?
Sometimes I tell them the same thing. Influence does require empathy, but it doesn't require entanglement. You can acknowledge emotion without absorbing it. And when you don't do that, you blur into amateur therapy.
Oh, for sure. That's therapy 101, and therapy without boundaries is just chaos. And when someone's crying in the fitting room, it's not a sales opportunity.
Actually, you'd be surprised how often it does become one.
Okay.
There's a moment of trust, vulnerability, and that's the perfect opening to close a sale. It's mercilessly effective. I suppose I will grant you it might be ethically murky.
Murky is one word for it, because that's exploitation, if you ask me.
I'd argue it's context. The client comes for attention, don't they, as much as the product. If the associate gives that sincerely, both sides get what they want.
Maybe. But if what they wanted was comfort, it'll fade. I've had people tell me that they felt euphoric walking out with their new bag, say, and then by the time they've got to the car, they feel sick.
That's the guilt phase. The brain punishes over reward. It's biochemical buyer's remorse.
Right, and then the shame kicks in, which reignites the need to soothe, and so back they go, right?
You could almost admire the efficiency of it.
No, you would admire the efficiency. You.
Look, I'm not defending excess, but from a behavioural standpoint, it's fascinating. People externalise their emotional architecture through possessions. What they can't articulate, they display.
Yes, I see that. And I suppose that's why I never completely condemn it either. Because at least they're expressing something. It's communication through objects, I guess.
Precisely. And, the trouble starts, I suppose, when the object starts speaking louder than the person.
Yes, or when they start to believe the object is the person. I wear, therefore I am. You know, that kind of thing.
And that's when luxury becomes identity maintenance. The therapy isn't necessarily in the healing, it's in the preservation.
Wow, that's exhausting. Imagine trying to keep your kind of self-esteem on a shelf, like a literal shelf.
Many do. But, I mean, you can't remove emotion from luxury. That's its currency. Without desire, relief or pride, the whole sector collapses.
Well, I'm not suggesting removing it at all. Just kind of honesty about what's being sold, perhaps. Don't call it empowerment if what you're really offering is maybe sedation.
I mean, fair to a degree. Although, if people leave feeling calmer, how is that inherently bad?
Well, not if they know what they're buying. It's the illusion bit that worries me. The promise that a product can fill an emotional void.
And yet, some clients genuinely derive lasting satisfaction. For them, it's art, craft, meaning. The purchase reinforces identity in a stable way.
Right, but that's the healthy version. They're not escaping themselves. They're kind of expressing themselves.
So perhaps the question isn't whether luxury has become therapy, but whether it's good therapy or bad therapy.
Yeah, and you predictably are providing the former?
Well, I prefer to think that I'm providing insight into human behaviour. What people do with that insight is entirely up to them.
I mean, that's one way to sleep at night, Paul.
I sleep perfectly fine, thank you very much. Though if I do start, advertising luxury as a cure for existential despair, you'll be the first to know, and I'll send you a lovely letter saying, "You were right, Helen."
Oh, fabulous. Please do, because what I'll do is then I'll frame it and I'll put it next to the Louis Vuitton trunk you'll buy to cope with the guilt. How about that?
Touché.
In the end, it's simple though, isn't it? If luxury makes you feel better for a moment, fine. If it's the only thing that makes you feel better, call someone like me instead, right?
And if you want to sell to those people ethically, call someone like me.
There it is, the perfect business model. You break them, I'll fix them.
Well, it's incredibly efficient, don't you think?
I mean, disturbingly so.
So shall we go shopping then?
Ooh, only if you promise not to analyse me though while we're doing it.
Yeah, no promises. Absolutely no promises.